Hey guys, this is Daquan here, and this is my third creepypasta ever made, and it's based on the recent clown activity that's begun to spark on the west side of the United States. And it's about a detective named Brian Riggs and his partner Mike Hutch, who tried to solve a case with 20 missing people in Akron, Ohio. It's not true at all, though. I'll tell you that now. Well, with further ado, I give you Carnival Freaks. Recent clown activity has begun to spark across the state of Ohio, particularly Akron, since the beginning of July in 2016 of this year. My name is Detective Brian Riggs, and I specialize in finding missing people. I just got a call in my office from her mother. She was crying about her son named Chris that had recently gone missing. I could sense the distraught in her voice. "Can you give me any info, ma'am?" I asked. She replied that her son had called her phone crying, saying that there were two clowns chasing him with axes and chainsaws. All of a sudden the phone just dropped. She then heard her son screaming loudly. The tires screeched and pulled off. "Okay, ma'am, can you give me info as to what your son looks like?" "Yes, he is 12 years old, about 5 feet, brown hair, Caucasian, with freckles. Oh, his name is Chris." "Okay, thank you, ma'am, for the info. And I'm sorry, but I didn't catch your name." "Sarah Bridges," she replied. "Okay, Miss Bridges, I will get on this case as soon as possible." "Okay, thank you. Goodbye." Holy shit. That's like the 12th call we had this month about these damn clowns terrorizing people. And it's only the middle of October. Not to mention the other 30 calls we had since July. My partner Mike was correct. Me and Mike been in the business for nearly 10 years. We've solved many cases together, and we're well known across the state of Ohio for our work. We have had some cases before that we thought were pretty horrible, but the clowns took the prize. Never before have we had a case quite like this one. 20 people missing within 4 months? I wonder why she didn't just call the cops. "We already have a lot on our hands," Mike said. "She probably already did and they just didn't do anything." "Come on, Mike, you know this. People only rely on us to find their missing family." I know. I just wish we didn't have such a tedious job, man. I'm calling it a night. I still gotta follow this work." "Alright, Mike, take it easy." When he left, I felt alone. Very alone. And began to feel as if someone were watching me. I soon blamed this on the fact that we had so many clowns running about. When I drove home, I thought about only one thing. How the hell are we going to find these people? As I got home, I immediately crashed on my bed and fell asleep from a stressful day I just had. I awoke around noon the next day and went downstairs to make myself some coffee, toast, and eggs, my favorite. While eating my brunch, I went on my laptop, browsing through Facebook, through my newsfeed. Ha! As I thought, same old bullshit from the same baby mamas talking shit in one post about a nigga, and the next she suddenly loves him. Pathetic, I mumbled. As I scrolled down deeper into my newsfeed, there were a few screenshots of a local high school student and a profile picture of a clown having a conversation. The clown had threatened to come to her school and shoot up everyone. Dumb kids, I thought. However, as I scrolled down, there was the same post again of screenshots of the conversation between the student and the clown. Again and again, I saw the same post. I'll admit to myself, at first I thought it was a joke, but then I began to get scared and believe it was true. The thing that frightened me the most was that the fact that the conversation had yesterday's date on it. The sound of my phone made me jump. It was Mike. "Hey, what's up, Mike?" "Brian, turn on the news now. It's live." Dread filled my heart as he said this. When I turned on the news, I saw it was indeed live. There was a reporter speaking about a recent shooting that happened at a local school close to my house. My heart sank into my chest. The lady then said there was a conversation going on between an attending student of the school and a person imitating a clown. The screenshot of the conversation I saw on Facebook then popped up on the screen. It was the same exact thing I kept saying on and on in my head. Mike's voice had then started to come in. Yo, Brian, are you there? Yo, hello? Oh shit, man, my bad. Man, this clown shit is seriously getting out of hand. I agreed. Yeah, but what the fuck are we gonna do about it? We still haven't even begun to find these missing people around the town. And to top it off, I've never seen any clown yet. Don't even know where these sick fucks reside. Mike then butted in. I've been speaking to some people who have seen these clowns around town. I came across this man who lives close by, and he said we should come to his house and get some info from him. I agreed and hung up the phone. I got up and headed to Mike's house so he could show me the way where the man lives. When I pulled up to his house, Mike had brought out the files from the office we had took. They were the files of all the missing people that we both had to find. Hey Brian, I got a pretty damn good feeling we'll find these people soon enough. Oh really? And why is that? I asked. Well, dumbass, what you think? We finally found someone who knows where to find these sick clowns. Now will you just drive? As I drove, the ride was quiet and surprisingly quick. The person's name was John Pub. I was quite upset of not thinking of this idea myself. When we knocked on the door, a tall man that looked about 6 feet tall had let us in. He then began to tell us about his clown sightings. He was jogging in Metro Parks one night alone, like he usually does, on the track, and he saw someone with bright clothes on just standing in there in front of him, in the middle of the path. John then had said, "Hey guy, what's going on? Are you okay?" The man was quiet but just stared at him, not uttering a single word. A few seconds had passed, and 3 more men came out of the woods walking towards John. They had bright clothes as well. Yo, what the fuck is wrong with you? They then broke into a sprint towards John. He then saw that they had clown suits on. But John had been running for 10 years and was in more shape than all of them. He outran them and then drove away, calling the cops. "And which trail were you on, John?" I asked. He replied, "Oxbow." "Okay, thanks for your time, John." Mike and I then pulled off heading towards our office. When we got there, we discussed what we'd do that night. "Hey Mike, I'm thinking about going to that trail tonight." "You're crazy, Brian, but I agree. We need to put an end to these sick fucks." I then looked at the office's phone and saw we had 1 new voicemail. I pressed play and this is what I heard. "I am the one that watches you at night as you went home to sleep. I stared in your window to take a peep. And remember, when you went to John's house today to get more info, I was the man who was outside the window." This sent a chill down my spine. Some sick bastard was stalking me, and I had no idea who it was. Office was quiet for what it seemed like minutes. Mike then spoke up and said, "Hey man, meet me at the trail tonight around 11 p.m. Don't be late either." Okay man. "Hey, don't forget the files." Mike then walked home, which I thought kinda strange since I'm the one who drove him around. That night when I arrived to Oxbow Trail, there was Mike already there. He's usually late. "Hey Brian, you ready to crack this case?" "You bet, man." We then began walking to the deep forest. Mike then began walking around saying to follow him. Now, in this time, I was wondering, how the fuck does Mike know where to go? But like a dumbass, I didn't ask. Mike began to pick up speed. "Hey man, wait! What the hell?" I ran after him. All of a sudden, my vision went black. I awoke in a bright colored tent. What the fuck? As I got up, a sharp pain shot through my head. When I walked out of the tent, there were bright lights everywhere. There was a large tent with a sign that read, Carnival Freaks. When I walked in it, there were clowns everywhere, dozens, no, it looked like 100. Where am I? A man then spoke up on the microphone. Attention, all you freaks and jokers, all you whacks and wackoos. You are in the Carnival of Freaks. Now let this show begin. The clouds went wild. People then began to come from the back door in chains. What I saw made my jaw drop. They were the missing people Mike and I were looking for. Someone then grabbed me. It was a large man with a painted face. Get the fuck off me, man. Hey boss, we got a peeper. The announcer then looked over at us. I'm glad you can make it to our show, Brian. I then recognized the voice. It was Mike. Mike, you sick fuck. What are you doing? Brian. What does it look like? This is my circus, of course. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. The large clown pushed me down, holding me down to the chair. As the show began, the victims were screaming for help. A few jesters had took a man by the arms and began chopping him to shreds. They began by chopping off his legs with a machete, laughing while he was screaming in pain. Blood oozed out of his body and splattered everywhere. I heard the sound of bones crunching. All of the other clowns were laughing with glee as if it were their favorite TV show. Now for our next contestant. One of them brought out the little boy. It was Chris, Miss Bridges' son. The jester began tying ropes on the boy's arm. Chris had tears streaming down his face. They then brought in 2 cars and tied the ropes to the cars, which then began to drive, ripping poor Chris's limbs clean off. Blood sprayed everywhere. I couldn't take it anymore. I tried to wiggle away from the man's grasp, but he was stronger. The next contestant came out. It was John, the man I had talked with earlier. John then saw me. He cried for help to me. A large clown with a huge muscular build came out and lifted John into the air, ripping his body from his fucking head. As John's lifeless body dropped to the ground, the large clown began licking blood off of his lips and face. He then threw John's head into the crowd like it was a souvenir at a sports stadium. I cried in misery from seeing 3 people die gruesomely. I then remembered the pocket knife I always kept in my pocket. I pulled it out and slit the clown that was holding me leg down, grabbing his leg in pain. I rushed out of the tent and through the woods. The clowns soon started following me. Mike was ahead of them. They were all chasing me fast. Where are you going, buddy? The fun's just begun. I finally found the trail. Bingo, I shouted and caught up, grabbing my arm. I slit his wrist and then his neck, causing him to fall to the ground. Running, I finally saw the car. The clowns then stopped running as if they could not leave the woods. I didn't give a fuck though. So I sped off, heading towards the police station. When I got there, I told them everything I had witnessed. But when they drove there and walked into the forest, there were no clowns in sight. The circus was still there, and the victims were as well. As I drove home that night and went to bed, I wrote all I experienced that day in my journal. Another successful case solved. Well, good night, guys. And until next time, be safe. Hey, what the fuck, man? That bastard Brian got me pretty good. And I see he wrote a story about us. Oh, so sweet. Good thing I had a thick layer of cloth on my neck. Otherwise, I'd be through. My fucking wrist still hurts though. Oh yeah. And if you're reading this, don't be afraid of the clowns. We just want to have fun.